I'm my friend.
Go on then. I'll let you start.
All right, shall we say why we're doing it?
Can do.
So obviously we were at the rec together.
Yes. Which no longer exists, sort of.
Which no longer exists. And we obviously want to go forward trying to promote our personal training. But more importantly, it's kind of trying to establish content for you guys to see. And make sure that any questions that you guys have, that we are answering them for you, because we're faces that you know. And I think that's been a thing about, I did my YouTube videos last month, and people did them because they knew it was me rather than some random that was on YouTube. So if you've got any questions for today, then just throw them up on the comments line.
Yeah.
And we'll get cracking, shall we?
Yeah, go on then. Where?
All right, then.
I'll let you start.
I think we should start on the pros and cons of the fitness industry. I like that one.
Well,
should we start cons?
Yeah, there's lots of pros.
We'll get you going.
Well, for the most part, I would say, well, this could be a pro and a con, and it's social media, because you've got to be careful where you look and what you're looking at, because a lot of it's just rubbish. You know, someone can just hop on and just, you know, post this, that, and it looks like that they know it all, but they don't. And I think it's pretty toxic if you're not careful.
I think there's a fake of realism, isn't there?
Yeah, I mean, I suppose it's what we're doing as well, but
that's the pro, isn't it? So then, like, okay, maybe not all of our ideas are correct, but it's what we believe is true. But I think we're a lot more realistic in what we portray. And I think there's loads of good social media influencers out there. It's just those that kind of make, I think mainly women, feel a bit down on themselves and a bit like that's what they need to look like.
Yeah.
And I think that's the problem. It's not really making you learn or educate you in any way. So
no, I think a lot of people just think, oh, I can do a little bit of this, a bit of that, post it, and now all of a sudden I'm an expert. When in reality, they don't know shit. I mean, just because they might have a certificate that says they know something or that they've something means absolutely fuck all. For the most part, unless you've got PhDs, you know, or if you've got 30, 40 years of experience, then...
And those people still need to learn. So some of those still get it wrong.
Exactly.
So
I mean, once you stop thinking that there's stuff for you to learn, you've already lost.
But
you know?
I think if you ask year 1 me to year 10 me of being in the gym industry, the things I did then are completely different to what I do now. So
yeah, absolutely.
And you know, we all have to educate ourselves. But yeah, I think I agree with you on the fact that anyone can put anything up on social media and say that that's what you do.
Yeah.
And I think that's wrong in the way of it, because it's different for everyone.
Yeah. One thing that annoys me is when you get people that say stuff like, this is the best thing for this, or this is the best thing for that. And there's no best for anyone, because everyone's different. Everyone has different goals. Everyone trains differently. You know, what works for me might not work for you. Someone's trying to tell you something is the definite best thing, regardless of what it is. They're trying to sell you something. Tell them you're not interested. You know, shop around, so to speak.
Well, yeah, you know, obviously there's going to be things that are proven scientifically as such that are better for you. But as you say, it's like who you are as a person, and the individual. Like, training will affect you, nutrition will affect you, the way you go into a workout will affect you.
Exactly.
But yeah, I think social media is making things way more accessible. You know, if we didn't have social media during the lockdown, like there's a lot of people that wouldn't have access to anything in that time. So You know, things like Insta Lives, YouTube, Facebook Live, they were there to actually help us through the lockdown. So that's the good side of your social media as well. So.
Yeah. I mean, a definite con is, and I know so many people that would agree with me on this, is unrealistic, whether it's a body image or someone's achieved something and you're like, oh, I wish I could look like that. And it's just like, you can wish that all you like. You're not going to look like that because you're not them. You can look your variation of that, but you won't have
the best.
That. You know, it's not going to happen.
Well, I think you should always be the best version of yourself, shouldn't you? Don't ever worry about any other person in the world. Just be the best version of you.
Yeah, and I don't know why other people are so interested in what other people do, what other people think, what other people, you know.
What do you look like in the mirror? Yeah, what do you want to look like at the end of the day?
And a lot of the time, it's people it's like you're trying to impress, or you're doing stuff for other people. It's like, why would you do that? I couldn't give a toss what anyone else thinks.
Look out for number one, isn't it? So
yeah, exactly. Yeah, I mean,
anything else other than social media?
Well, we could go into this for too long.
Well, for me, I think that's very, very broad. Myself in the fitness industry, obviously working in different types of gym, you know, I think frustrations that we've had, especially in our sector that we've just come from, or that you're staying in, really, is kind of your restrictiveness of not being able to do things on gym floor that you want to. You know, I think that's a massive con of the industry, in particular business, is that you don't have a say, even though you're the ones on the front line dealing with those things.
Well, that's the problem with commercial gyms.
Yeah.
But, you know, that's another whole...
That could get Jake on to a whole hour of ranting.
Yeah, I don't think people want to just hear me rant about how much I hate commercial gyms. To be fair, people who probably want to hear it have heard it a million times already. So, I'm not going to waste anyone's time going over the stuff. But
what would be your pro to working in the industry?
I hate the word fitness industry, but we'll go with it. I love teaching people stuff that I have a serious interest in, because it's just fun, isn't it? I mean, when you've put loads and loads of time and effort into learning stuff yourself, finding stuff out yourself, teaching other people and finding other people that have the same interests, or even if they don't to start with, and then you sort of introduce it to them and they're like, actually, that's pretty good. You change people's minds a bit, and it's just opening people's minds a little bit to maybe different things that they haven't necessarily experienced or tried. I mean, like, I'm not going to name names, but I was talking to someone probably, it must have been like a year ago, probably during the first lockdown, and she had plans of what she was going to do for her training, and it was completely different to like what I do. And I briefly explained what I do and how I train, and how I try to incorporate training with people. And she was like, you know what, that actually sounds pretty good. And then ever since, that's what she's done.
Yeah. And
it's the complete opposite of what she would typically do or would ever think to do, or what they'd even done. And I can invest time in that, because it's like, this is what I know. You know, if it's just like, I want to lose weight and tone up.
Pet peeve of instructors.
Yeah, I'm not
lose weight.
Yeah, I'm not interested. I mean, I'll take them, but you know,
that's it. Yeah. I think for me, like, kind of, it is an extension of that. It's the reward, isn't it? It's the making someone feel better about themselves and finding an interest and being passionate about it, rather than just doing it for the sake of it and then kind of growing bored of it and then not wanting to do it. You know, allowing them to turn up to the gym and actually enjoy themselves, rather than.
I mean,
it doesn't have to be the gym, does it?
I love teaching people in such a way that they can then go out and coach themselves, or even coach somebody else.
Yeah.
Because it's just like, why would you just get someone to do something for, you know, no reason, so to speak, rather than I'll teach you something. That knowledge is going to stay with you forever. You're going to be able to expand on that and then explain and teach it to somebody else. You know, I've not only helped one person there, You know, it's
That's
the knock-on effect. And it can grow exponentially, especially with online stuff, like with Instagram and YouTube and whatnot.
Yeah.
But yeah. Anything that you want to cover with that?
Pros of working in fitness industry, free gym membership. There you go. That's
yeah.
Come and work in the industry. You get free gym membership.
Get free gym.
All right, then. Should we get down to more specifics?
Yeah, if you want.
So, how to get into a training mindset, and so ways to get motivated to go to the gym. So, any big ones out there for you?
I mean, I think mentally, the mental side of it, I think you'll be able to cover quite well. But I think it's just important for people to have a pretty clear vision as to what they want to do, what they want to achieve. And then once they've done that, okay, how am I going to do it? Rather than saying, right, I'm going to have the entire picture in one go and attack it all at once. Get small bits and it'll all build up. But you've got to start off somewhere. And you've got to start off with basics and fundamentals of training, rather than just throwing yourself in at the deep end. You know, sort of paddle in with your armbands on to start with if you need to.
Yeah, like I would say exactly the same. Really, like, it's organisation, isn't it? Organising yourself, having a goal in mind. I almost feel like you need to find what you're passionate about at the beginning.
Yeah.
Like, what's going to make you turn up? Like, don't go in with this idea of, working towards something that you don't want.
Yeah.
Because you're not going to do it at the end of the day. So I
find a lot of people who don't know what they're doing is they'll go into a gym or they'll go in and do some training and they'll follow something that they've just seen on Instagram or YouTube, whatever. Don't know what they're doing. Don't know why they're doing it. Just because someone else has done it. Oh, that looks good. Let's try it. But there's no purpose to it. You know, you've got to know what you're doing. Then you've got to sort of shop around, so to speak, to see where you can find as much information and assistance as you're going to get for that specifically. Rather than otherwise, if you haven't got a vision or like a specific goal that you want to achieve, you're just going to be drifting around aimlessly and you're not going to get anywhere. Even if it's just small, it's better than nothing.
Yeah, exactly. If it's a dress size, I think, obviously an event or something like that you're working towards, anything. It doesn't have to be an event or anything like that, but, it could be a dress size, it could be, lift a certain amount of weight, whatever. It doesn't matter what the goal is.
That's one.
Sorry?
I said, and don't make any excuses is another thing. A lot of people, like we said this on Monday, I haven't got time to go to the gym. Cut the shit there. You've got 24 hours in a day. Let's just say you sleep 8 hours. You've got 16 hours left. You're at work for 8. That leaves you with 8 hours. Yeah. If the president of the United States has got time to work out, so have you.
Yeah. Right. And it doesn't have to even be that long, does it? It doesn't have to be, obviously me and you do like gym sessions. But, people have proven that you can do it in 20 minutes, 30 minutes. Yeah. So you don't need to find a lot of time.
If you do nothing, it doesn't. I'm not suggesting, and nor are you saying, right, you've got to go from doing absolutely nothing to training for 2 hours, 5 days a week. No. Baby steps. Go out for a half an hour walk twice a week, and then push it up to 3 times a week, and then every other night, and then increase the duration. It depends what you're doing. You can't just go full steam ahead straight away. So, I think a plan and definitely helps.
I think I think a lot of my inductions see it as an appointment with yourself. Like, you would turn up to an induction or a doctor's appointment or a physio appointment, whatever, at that specific time and make time for it. Yeah. But we don't seem to do that with our gym sessions. We don't go, right, I'm going to train at this specific time. Yeah. I'm going to give myself this much time to do it. Like that's ultimately what you need to do with yourself. Like,
I get that people have lives and they have other stuff as well that they have going on. But if you want to change something about you and get more active and fit or stronger or bigger or lose weight or whatever, just if it's important enough for you, then forget excuses, get with it, do something. No one's going to help you I mean,
it's a priority, isn't it? That's it.
If it's not a priority, then you're kidding. Then you're kidding yourself. You know,
Yeah,
you're
not going to hit your goals if you're not priorities. So
yeah.
Leading on from it, we obviously said like plan your training sessions in, but should you approach every session with a plan?
I would say you have to have a rough idea as to what you're doing, because, like I said, otherwise you're just going to be drifting around aimlessly.
Going around.
However, having it works either way, really. If you wrote down a session, say, right, today I'm going to do this, and this, that you can write that down all you like. That might not happen when you get to the gym, or you might have, right, I've got squats planned 10 sets of 10. That's going to take you a while. You get to the gym, no 3 squat racks. Well, that's your session. Fuck then, isn't it? You got to be flexible with what you're doing, but I wouldn't say go in and just say, I've no idea what I'm doing. I'm doing a bit of this, I'm doing a bit of that for the sake of it. I've always said, and I'll always say, if you gave me a program or a workout that you've done, and this is people, not necessarily anyone, but people that I've done stuff with, if you show me your program, and you should be able to justify everything that's in your program on that session, or whether it's the daily session or you've got over every week. If you can't, then there's no point in being there. Everything should have a reason and a place in your program. So, I mean, we've all got stuff that we like doing that isn't necessarily going to do much for us. Do that at the end. Don't prioritize that. I mean, prioritize stuff that's going to be most beneficial.
Yeah. What's the goal? Like, we've already said it, haven't we? What is the goal?
Yeah.
So work towards that goal. That's the priority of your session. Like, that should be the first thing you focus on. And then from then on, like, you know, me and you talk about it a lot, that we kind of focus on a lift maybe, but then we'll go, right, what's the weaknesses that are causing us to stall or do whatever?
I mean, there's so many factors that could be contribute to that. But yeah, absolutely. I mean, as you say, if you're trying to get a certain lift up, or you're trying to do whatever, you need to have a plan that you know how you're going to achieve it. Because if you're trying to build your squat and you're weak at the bottom and you can't stay tight, for example, or you're just weak in the bottom of the squat and you're not training your hamstrings as hard as you can, well, it's not going to get any better, you know. And there's no point saying, oh, I don't know what I'm doing, I'm going to do some overhead press, because it's hard, so therefore it's doing something. Yeah, but it's not doing what you want it to do.
Not doing everything that you need. Yeah. And I think that's where personal trainers come in, really. Like, if you're struggling to know what you're doing.
Yeah, but you have to be careful with PTs, because a lot of them don't know fuck all. That's what.
Well, yeah, and that's where you need to find the right one for you. So. And
you have to try a lot of different ones, because there's no. I think if you just go to one and say, oh yeah, they're fine, you know, eventually, and it's like training, you're going to get to a point where they're not going to teach you anything new. You're not going to progress with them, no matter how much it seems like they know. And at some point, you're going to have to find stuff out for yourself.
Every PT has a strength, and every PT has a weakness. Like, me and you would fully admit that. We know that we strengths over one another and weaknesses to each other. And by working together, the whole point of this is that you're going to have knowledge of things, and I'm going to have knowledge of things. But people need to understand that, you know, that it's like specialisms in the medical industry. You know, it's exactly the same. You wouldn't go to an eye doctor for a problem with your eye, you know. So it's the same concept.
Yeah.
So.
Something that really gets on my tits is people who boast about having certain PT qualifications and stuff are then automatically seen as experts, when in reality, a lot of the time they're not. And an example I can give is, you've got person A has never ever been in a gym, never lifted any weights, never done any sort of training, but over the last 6 weeks has just passed a PT course. And you've got person B who doesn't have a certificate to say anything, but they've got 40 years of experience training athletes and proper strength athletes and sports athletes and pro whatever. Who are you obviously going to go to? The person who's got the experience and knows what they're doing, rather than someone who's got a certificate to say, well, I've got a level 3 and I can do whatever, when you can't do shit at all. that's what annoys me about people who put in their Insta bio, qualified PT. Yeah, great.
Yeah, I think people need to appreciate that. That yes, that's how long it can take to get your certificate in PT. It can take over 6-week period, and then you're a qualified personal trainer. So
you don't learn anything of value in those courses that you wouldn't figure out yourself for free, or I mean, those things are just taught by people who ultimately don't know anything anyway. They're an industry basic standard that is box ticking if you want a job that requires that in a commercial gym. You know,
yeah,
you wouldn't go to somebody who PTs in Pure Gym if you've got 30 years of experience in strength training and athletic performance just because they've got a qualification. They're not going to. Yeah. You're going to be taking millions of steps backwards. You know, but on the flip side, you can learn something from everyone, regardless of age, experience, knowledge, and whatever, because everyone's different and everyone has their own individual experiences. So.
Do your research, do your research.
Yeah, and try stuff out for yourself. You know you better than anyone else.
Speaking of your strengths, pal.
Yeah.
We'll go into some strengths that we've been up. So, how often should you train your 1 rep max?
Oh, fuck it out.
And explain what 1 rep max means, because some people might not know.
Well, a 1 rep max would be a weight of which you can not do more than 1 rep at. So if you could do a weight on a lift and you do 1 rep and it was hard, and you go down and you go for a second and you fail, that's a 1 rep max because you couldn't do any more. It's pretty obvious. Now, how often did you test it? Well, it depends on what your sport is. It depends on what you're trying to do. It depends how you train. You know, if you're not bothered about strength, then I wouldn't say it necessarily matters. However, it's probably worth having an idea as to what a 1 rep max is for specific exercises, because then you can work off of percentages from that. That's getting quite scientific if I go into that, which I won't now anyway. But then it depends on what sort of programming you have, because if you're like a power lifter, for example, typically your coach would have you, or you would have a peaking phase programmed in where you have that sort of stuff programmed in anyway, typically closer to the competition, I think. I haven't really looked into it too much. But then if you have, it depends on what sort of methods and programs you follow, because some you max out every week, but you change the exercise or do a variation of the exercise every week. Because if you do the same thing over and over again, specifically heavy, you're just going to start to go backwards and then you're not going to progress. So yeah,
you just smack, like you're just targeting the same muscle group over and over again, and you're just knackered because of it, aren't you? So and at the end, you want to do.
Yeah, I mean, 1 rep max is going to be, I would say, well, you could define it differently. I suppose you could say, regardless of how it looks, if it looks awful but you still make it, is that a 1 rep max, or do you go until technical failure? Because there could be 10, 15, 20 kilos difference between the two. You know, you could do a deadlift and your back is, you know,
bent out of shape. Yeah.
You look like a question mark when you do it, but you make the lift. Are you going to count that as a 1 rep max, or are you going to take off? Are you going to be more modest and sort of
take a bit
and take off 12, 15% and say, okay, that's the max I'm going to work off because it was a more acceptable looking lift? Depends.
Yeah. I think, but as you said, it depends on what you're training for, and what your goals are. Like, if you're not looking to achieve much strength, then not very often. In my opinion. Focus on what actually is going to achieve your goals. If you're looking to lose weight, then no, there's no point.
If it doesn't matter to your training or what you're doing, if you just go in and think, fuck it, let's max out because you're with some mates or whatever, it's a bit fun to do. But
it's a bit fun, yeah.
If you just think, oh, I fancy maxing out, when you know you shouldn't because it's going to affect your training for the rest of the week, or you're not it's not programmed in to max out, then it's going to be detrimental. So it depends on what you're doing it for. If you're not training to be super strong, then there's no point in maxing out, I wouldn't have thought, ever. Because it's just going to be well, it could be dangerous, although not usually with a 1 rep max because not much fatigue. But it's going to take a lot to recover from if you don't know how to manage it. So it's a difficult question to ask, even though it could be seen as quite a simple answer.
I'll let you do the next question, mate.
Where do you want me to go? Just pick one, or
pick a random one. Go for it, mate.
Yeah. By the way, anyone who's watching, if you think of anything as you're watching, just pop it in the feed, because I'm looking. I don't know if Theo is, but I am. If anything pops up, we'll prioritise the ones that come up in the chat, because who knows,
you're watching.
Well, yeah, exactly. Okay. All right, but this sort of actually carries on from what we were just saying a minute ago. Do you think it's important to vary your workout to see the results? Or do you think you should do the same thing over and over and over again? You know, if it ain't broke, don't fix it.
Yeah, but what's the term of insanity, doing the same thing over and over again?
Yeah.
Expecting the same result? Yeah. So, I would say yes and no. Because you want to stick with the similar exercises for a while because you want to focus on the movements.
Yeah.
But you don't want to be doing them forever because you're just going to plateau, and there's just that's not helpful to anyone's cause. So yeah, I would say stick to familiar movements and then change it every so often. Change it every, I don't know, like it could be 3 to 4 weeks. It could be, you know, it depends. Again, it's all this depending on what you're doing. You know,
I think a good rule of thumb is find what works, progress it as much as you can. When it starts slowing down or stalling, change it for something. It's still trying the same thing, but it's a different variation. So like, say you push up a close grip bench to get your triceps stronger for 3, 4, 5 weeks, and then on the 6th week, it just feels like shit. Take it out and then do close grip floor press, or do it on an incline, or do it with a different bar.
Do something similar, but
because they're going to get completely new stimulus. But I mean, yeah, you don't want to do the same thing over and over again for too long, because you'll start to get diminishing returns, and then you'll start to go backwards. In fact, especially if you're working too heavy. So if you start maxing out, if you got a new max on a lift on 1 week, and then you try it again the next week, and you get a new one the second week on the same lift, to do it a 3rd week, it's not going to happen. So you have to change it just for new stimulus, really.
Well, and I think from the other side of things, mentally for yourself, it's a way to get bored by doing the same workout over and over again. God, how boring can you get? You know, that's not going to make me want to turn up to the gym every so often to do the same workout every day or every other day. You know, you want something different to attack. Even if you're doing that one session on the same day every week, you know, just trying to change that up for yourself. Yeah. Because
I mean, if you want to max out on a lift every week, you can, but change it slightly. Just change the variation of it slightly. So say it's like, right, I did a regular deadlift this week, just straight weight from the floor. Next week, I'm going to do it from a deficit. For those who don't know what deficit is, you stand on a block or weight plates so that you're stood up higher. So it increases the range of motion. Next week, if you still want to stick with deadlifts, keep it on the floor, but do it snatch grip. Snatch grip is a wide grip on the bar. Again, if you want to stick with deadlifts for a 4th week, I wouldn't. Put chains on it or bands or something. Just make it different. Or change the bar to like a trap bar.
Trap bar, yeah.
Which I don't really rate, but you know, it does. It has
it works for other people. Yeah, it works for other people. So
yeah.
So for the more generic workout, you know, we as instructors in an induction would probably give someone a program, but you know, we want them to do it for a couple of weeks, the same workout, but then they'll come back and we'll want to adjust it because automatically A, boredom, B, plateau.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, and you want more knowledge of exercises.
Yeah.
You know.
I mean, you could have a year. If just say you trained your triceps once a week, as an example, you could have a year's worth of training changing every week because there's so many different variations. I mean, it's not quite infinite, but there's a lot of different variations you can have, and it's all doing the same thing. But it's going to reduce any overuse injuries. So you're not going to knacker your elbows or your shoulders or your triceps and the tendons for that matter, because you're slightly changing something, but you're still getting out of it what you want it to. So I do think you should vary your workouts. A lot of it, I think you should do it down to feel. You know, if you think, oh, I'm just going to keep doing the same thing because it's worked for a couple of weeks and just stay with that forever, you won't get very far. I say this, there's people that can probably do the same thing for a year and keep progressing, but they're an extreme anomaly. So don't think that's you.
The majority won't work with.
Oh, yeah. All right, I've got another.
So you got another one, all right.
So what would you say would be best options or best exercises or best things for someone who is post knee surgery or have knee injuries or just general prehab to, not even get to that? What would you suggest?
Dependent on knee injury, for one.
Yeah.
And knee surgery. I suppose I've had lots.
Let's say that they can walk, but the doctor said to be careful. Let's say that.
I love that. How many times has a doctor said that to someone? Christ. I think knee injuries, a lot of the injuries that I see are kind of arthritic, more than not, and it's about moving that joint and getting on a bike, not getting too heavy a weight, not overusing the joint.
Yeah.
But it's about
moving is important. Yeah.
Arthritis is the biggest one that people are like, oh, it hurts, and it's like, well, if you don't move it, it's going to get worse. So you need to do something about it.
Yeah, and I think the older people get, they tend to think, oh, I'm getting older, I need to start taking it easy and do less. I disagree. I would say the older you get, you need to start doing more.
Keep active. That's
Because
your mate's being funny.
Are you done?
Yeah. So depending on the injury, obviously, if there's an ACL problem, you can actually do quite a lot with an ACL injury. Pre-surgery, it's actually about not rotating yourself or doing anything natural. You can actually do loads of stuff, forward and back. You can do squats. You can do, I probably wouldn't recommend to do lunges, but you could probably still do lunges.
Yeah. I suppose, but at the end of the day, this may sound silly, but if it doesn't hurt, why would you not do it? Because it's obviously not that bad for you. I mean, train the shit out your calves and your hamstrings if you've got knee issues, because that's what supports the joint. Not quads and extensions. That's just going to shear the joint and make it worse. One that I would always recommend. It's not difficult. It's difficult for people to potentially do exactly, but you can still customize it a bit. Is if you can walk, you can pull a sled, because there's no pressure on the spine or the joint itself. It's just going to be pumping up the joint itself, the tissues around the knee joint, with no direct loading. For those who aren't aware what I mean by sled dragging, I have a couple of videos on my profile of it and explaining it a little bit, just so you can see what it is. It's not glamorous, but the stuff that is the most effective never is. So if you can walk, then you can do that sort of stuff. Know what your limitations are, really. If it hurts, don't do it. But you have to push it a bit to get better, because it's not going to otherwise.
Well, I had experience last week with a lady with a horrendous knee problem, potential replacement, and she just refused to do any exercise before for fear of making it worse. Right. When I started doing things like even just a recumbent bike or a box squat, like a sit to stand, like we see box squats at the moment, obviously. Like me and Jake have done an Instagram recently where we're doing really heavy weights. You just need to sit in a chair and stand up again. That's as simple as it can be to get the knee moving, to get the joint moving. Yeah. Reduce pain.
There's few more fundamental movements than a squat. So why would you not do it? I mean, you sit up, you get up and down out of chairs and everything all the time. If if you can do it, then load the tissue safely to build it up. I mean,
do something functional with yourself. You know, there's
yeah.
like, the only way you're going to make that knee better is by strengthening the area. You know, by doing nothing and just letting it slide.
Yeah.
It's never going to improve, is it?
Yeah, but no, yeah, not loading it heavy, just doing loads and loads of repetitions as well, because that's just going to fill it with blood, and that's what's going to help with recovery as well.
Yeah.
You know, joints, especially if it's tendons, ligaments, they have low blood supply, so it's not going to naturally heal as quickly as a muscle will. You've got to make it heal if you want it to. Otherwise, you could be out of action for 6 to 9 months. Whereas if you're not doing anything and hobbling around, you know, feeling sorry for yourself, or you could get up and actually do something about it, and you'll be fine in, you know, 6 weeks, or considerably better in 6 weeks.
Depending on injury.
But I mean, the worst thing you can do is nothing, of fear of making it worse. You know, it's already bad. It's only going to get better.
Yeah, I think patience is a big thing as well, because people give up too easy and allow themselves, like, and that goes with anything, not just injuries. That goes with weight loss and stuff like that. It's this, like, it hasn't happened, it hasn't worked straight away, so I'm just going to give up. And
that's,
you know,
laziness.
And it's all about consistency. The people that you see that achieve their goals are the ones that are consistent in what they do.
Yeah.
You know, they're not the ones that give up easily. They're the ones that, you know, prioritize. You know, if you've got an injury, you should be prioritizing to recover that injury, to be able to do things by yourself. Be functional on your own. You know, so
absolutely. All right, here's an easy one. An easy one. That I do think people would probably benefit from, actually. Suggestions for pre-workout meals or food. So what? You know,
well, I'm not that fussed by what I eat to and fro from. Like, I say eat what you want within reason. And we're all different.
Energy for the task that you're about to perform. Yeah.
Well, and I think we're all different as well. Like I can eat half an hour before I train and feel fine and feel good for it. Whereas there's some people that just can't eat, and then they feel bad that they haven't eaten beforehand. I'm like, if you can do it fasted and you feel fine within your workout and you feel like you get a good enough workout from it, and then you eat after, then there's nothing wrong with that either. Like,
I would never recommend training on an empty stomach, though. Like,
I think it depends on what you're doing. Like, if you're doing a weight training session, no.
Food's fuel, though. Try to drive your car with no petrol in it. It needs fuel.
Oh yeah, I think it just depends on when you're doing it and what you're doing. Yes, you should be, like, what you don't want is, like, I've got clients that if they eat before one of my sessions, they'll throw up. Whereas I get enough out of them within a session that when they eat, like, and then they eat straight away. And that, my idea is, yes, now is the time to eat because you need it. Like, so I think it just depends on you as a person. Yes, I like to eat before I train. I know you like to eat within a specific amount of time of you training.
Well, I eat all the time, non-stop anyway. So regardless, it will fall within the right times. But yeah, I mean, what's a typical go-to sort of meal before? Like when you trained with me on, was it Monday?
What did I eat Monday? I can't even remember what I ate Monday.
Oh.
And this is the thing, because I vary my meals so much. I don't like this whole chicken, rice, broccoli shit. I like to have, like, actually, I know what it was. I had a roast dinner and I had chicken, veg and Philly. Like, so it was seasoned roast chicken, vegetables and Philly. Yeah. Okay, I've just said I don't do that chicken and rice bit, but that's a nice meal to have at lunchtime. Like, nice seasoned stuff, but it could be anything. Like, if it's a morning workout, I've had porridge and yogurt for breakfast, and then it might be an hour till I train, and then I'll have a shake afterwards. But you know, you don't have to have a shake. You can have a meal. You know, it depends on convenience of when you're eating. You know, I'm at the gym. I don't have access to all the food and microwaves there is, so a shake is convenient until I can get home and have a meal.
Yeah, you do. You do what you can. Yeah.
So I think, you know, as you say, food is fuel.
Yeah.
And we need to eat it to function and to train well.
Yeah.
What it is, you see all this pre-workout shit, you know, like, got to get your 2 scoops of pre before you start your workout. And I'm like, just get some food in you, just like, and if you really need like a pick me up, maybe a coffee, you know, like,
Yeah.
you know, like, the food is going to be better than a pre-workout at the end.
Oh yeah, always. Yeah. I mean, my go-to before I train 99 times out of 100 is a steak, rice and veg. That's what I normally have. Just because you get, you know, carbs in the rice, veg is carbs as well. And then you get
nutrients.
Yeah, creatine, protein and fats and iron in the steak. And that sees me through for a couple of hours until I'm done, and then I get back again and eat again. It's a vicious cycle of eating.
Well, yeah, like you manage your food quite strictly compared to me.
Yeah,
like I'll eat it.
I look forward to any meal ever now. It's just
no, that's it, and I can't live like that. Like, and I know there's many people that would watch this and think, yeah, no, I couldn't do that, Jake. Sorry, and that's fair enough. If it works for you, then it works for you. But like, it depends on your situation at home, doesn't it? Like, you might have kids and you've got to work your meals around your children, or work in the morning or whatever. Like, as I said earlier, like, if I'm at the gym, then I've just got to have a shake and be done with until I get home. And I think with food, it's organisation again. It's planning and making sure that you have the right food to eat, rather than you're eating a chocolate bar or you know, whatever before you start.
I think it depends, and it's important as to what you're training for and what your sort of goals are. Because if you're in performance, or you're a proper you properly train for stuff, then food is the most important thing. So you can't be slack with your food. Whereas if it's just, oh yeah, I go to the gym every now and then, or a couple of times a week, then it's different, because it's just like, it doesn't matter then if you don't eat on a strict regiment sort of time. It's just like, I've eaten today, fine, but it depends on what you're doing. And I think eating and food and nutrition and stuff is difficult for a lot of people, because there's just so much food. I know that sounds silly, but
so many things all over social media, as we mentioned at the start, like what's right and wrong, and you know, this is the correct thing to do, and it's like, well, it's we've banged on about it before, me and you, which is, if you want to lose weight, you need to be in a calorie deficit, and you want to
I don't know how to lose weight. Yes, you do. Shut the fuck.
Yes, you do.
Yeah, everyone knows how to lose weight. No,
I think
consume less calories than you burn.
But I think people misinterpret that by not eating enough, then
or eating at all, because
I'm not
eating anything, therefore I won't put any weight on. Right, well, you'll die then, so keep doing that. So
I think the biggest thing for me recently has been telling my clients, like, there is a certain amount of calories that you do actually require to digest food, to eat food, to breathe, to make your heart beat, you know, to make your brain work.
And I guarantee it's more than people would think. They probably think, oh, it's going to be about 100. It's not. It's probably about 1,500 to 2,000 at an absolute minimum. I think mine's about 2,800. Like if I sat here for 24 hours until 6:45 tomorrow, I'd have probably burnt about 3,500 calories doing fuck all. You know. Yeah. So,
I think that's the biggest thing, isn't it? Like, a lot of people see me and go, "God, you eat so much food," and I go, "Yeah, there's the point. I'm 5'1". Well, not even 5'1", am I? You know, and I'm eating this many calories in a day, and everyone's going, "Why do you get to eat that much food?" And I'm there going, "Well, because I can, because it's, you know, yes, I do exercise and I do train and I keep active, but I can eat that many calories. Obviously, if you're not as active as I am and you're my height, then it's a different story. Yeah, you're going to have less calories than I, you know, you're going to need less calories than I do. But someone my height still needs 1,300 calories a day, you know, whoever you are, you know, so. But,
I know, yeah. I'd be a millionaire if I had £1 for every time someone said you eat a lot. And I just look at that and think, I don't think I do, because I never feel like I've eaten enough, even though I know I have. You know, if it's a minimum of 4 proper meals a day. If not, if I can squeeze 5 or even 6, then I'm happy. And it gets expensive, but you know, it is what it is. But you eat for a purpose if you're training for specifics. You know, if you're just training, just eating, just, you know, to survive, then it's a different matter. But I think a lot of people, and another thing actually that goes back to all these PTs and stuff, is they'll start giving you diet plans, and they have no right to do that because they're not a doctor, they're not a nutritionist, and they're not a dietitian. The only thing, the only way that it would be somewhat excusable is if they got their clients to give them maybe 3 months worth of blood tests and then had it analysed first, because you could all say, oh yeah, you need to eat this, this and this. You've not tested anything, and it finds out that they're deficient in so much stuff which they need. And you wouldn't find that out unless you've had a blood test. So if someone's just selling diet plans online without, you know, thinking about
who you are,
honestly, run for the hills, because it's going to be bad for you. Well, it might not. It might be okay, but don't risk it, because they're not. They've got no right. They've got no right to do that. And I know a few of those. I know a few of those.
Yes. Well, we all of us know those in the industry, don't we? The whole kind of calories a day thing. One of the questions I got asked was, does your metabolism slow as you get older? So over 40. What do you reckon? Is it a myth or is it true?
I would say it probably slows. Well, okay, all right. I would say it probably slows as you get older. I wouldn't say as young as 40. But the reason I would say it probably slows is because as people tend to start to get older, their activity level starts to go down. So the more stuff you do, the more your metabolism is going to pick up anyway. I do think there is truth probably in your metabolism slowing down as you age, but 40, nah, that's just people. That's just people being lazy. You know, I think you can be as active as you are when you're 20. So you can be you can be as active at 20 and be the same with the activity levels when you're 50, 55. When you start to get a bit older than that, then stuff does happen. And bugger me if I know what those things are, but it does. But you know, my metabolism's slowing down, which is why I've gained weight and I'm 43. No, you've stopped doing stuff because you can't be asked. Yeah, go out and do.
Well, what I would say is, and I agree with you in the metabolism. I think will slow down as you get older, and I think activity levels kind of lower because they think that they can't do things. But I know for a fact that you retain fat more as you get older, and that in itself is a reason to do weight training.
Yeah.
To have, because it's proven the more muscle tissue you have, lean muscle tissue you have, the better that your metabolic rate is.
Yeah.
So by the ways to combat slowing your metabolic rate, if it's that dramatic, I don't even know, is do some weight training, and fuel your body for that weight training, get that lean muscle that's gonna fire your metabolism up.
Yeah.
And that's for everyone. That's not necessarily anyone that's over 40. That's for everyone. If you have more lean muscle tissue, you're gonna burn quicker.
Yeah, you hear that, girls? Get in the weights.
Yeah. Get on the weights, ladies.
Get off the
and eat food, because you need it.
Oh, I had a yogurt today, and that's it. Great.
Yeah. You're not gonna build your muscle if you're not training, but you're not gonna be able to train if you're not eating food. End of. So, and that's why I get to eat all the food I get to eat.
Yeah, but your food is necessary for your activities. So you need to do that. Not that you want to or you can necessarily, which you can and you do want to, but you need that. You're not going to get better and recover and progress and get stronger and get whatever if you're not refueling it. And drinking water. I don't like drinking water. Anyone that does that needs a punch in the face. don't like how it tastes. Oh, would you not like breathing either? Because you need.
Yeah, that's it. You need it. Yeah, that's it. Yeah, and I think that's the importance of protein as well. I think that's become very prevalent in the last kind of few years. You know, everything's got protein on it, even Mars bars.
That's
but
such rubbish. That's just
yeah, that is rubbish. But protein is obviously massively important, and you know, I'd rather that on there than bloody no fat, no sugar crap, all that stuff.
Yeah, and don't waste your time with protein powders. I think either. If you can get food in, then that's going to be your best bet. You know, everything.
Yeah, I would disagree slightly in the fact that I do protein shakes because I just can't get enough of that meat in.
Well, that's the
so it's a supplement.
Exactly.
It's not a meal.
It's not,
like that's what you need to. Yeah.
It's not a replacement of. It's not a case of either I have, you know, 250 grams of salmon, veg, and rice, or I have a shake.
Yeah.
You have the food every time. It's going to be better for you, obviously, because food's the best thing you can put in your body. And it's cheaper, you know, like 45, 50 quid for a tub of protein. Or, you know, 20 quid for a kilo and a half of salmon.
Yeah. I find it massively difficult to get that much food in for my protein levels. So I do shakes for that reason, but it doesn't stop me eating 3 to 4 meals a day, ever. Because they're the things that are going to give you your nutrients.
When would you have the shake though? As after workout, would you have it say before you go to bed? Because sometimes I'll have 4 or 5 or 6 scrambled eggs before I go to bed. You know, protein and it's fats and cholesterol, which is all good.
Well, yeah, for me it's watching calories. Again, like I have to eat this much stuff, but it's got this many calories in it to get me to that protein level. Whereas if I can have something concentrated of protein, then that's better for me because then I'm not like. Again, you know, yes, I get to eat a lot of calories, but I don't get to eat as many as you.
I say the only thing I think that's a benefit of, or the pro with protein powders relative to food, is that it probably absorbs into your body a bit quicker. So it's like you're almost instant. I don't know if that's true. I've probably just made that up, but you know, it would make. I think that's probably.
Would it synthesize into your body?
You haven't got to digest it. Well, not in the same way because it's. But then again, the process of digestion in itself burns calories. So
burn calories, yeah. So eating does burn calories, guys. So yeah, and the better, like meat is, you know, the hardest thing for your body to digest. So you'll burn more calories by eating meat or anything that's all a similar, I don't know, texture if we're looking for, but. Protein is the hardest thing to break down, and it doesn't get broken down in your mouth, it gets broken down in your stomach and your intestines. So it takes a long time for your body to be able to process it in the body, which means it burns more calories to do that. So eat protein, guys. It's really important.
It's okay to have a cheat meal every now and then. To be honest, if you eat perfect every day for a month, it's going to do you benefit to have a Domino's or a couple of burgers or go to Mackey's or KFC or whatever, because it's going to kickstart your metabolism anyway, because it's a shock to the system, and it will, even though it is shit, it will still give you nutrients that the healthy stuff won't. So, and that doesn't mean, oh, it's a Sunday, so therefore it's cheat day. No. You have to earn it. You know, it's not a cheat day if you have it 3 times a week. It's an earned day if you've been strict and you've smashed everything that you've been trying to do training wise and goals wise for 6 weeks. Then all right, I'll have a Chinese. You know, if you look in the mirror and think, and look at yourself, do I deserve this? And your answer is no. Then fucking put the Chinese menu down. Go get yourself some fish and veg. You know?
It's always depend. Like I think we've said it all the way throughout. It's like depending on what you're going for. What is your goal? What is your priority? If it's to lose weight, then don't go down the pub and drink 50 billion Prosecco's or 8 pints of beer. Like, you know, that, like, yes, you can enjoy yourself. Like, I'm a massive believer in that, and you know that. Like, you manage your lifestyle, but like 85-90% of your life should be pretty good as gold, and then you can enjoy the 10%, you know, when you want to. So, and then you won't be like, oh, I look like crap all the time. You know?
And I used to get quite a few people say, I do eat healthy, and then I'd say, okay, what is it? And it's like, yeah, that's pretty good. but then I have a couple of bottles of wine every night. Right. Well. Yeah. All right. You might as well have just had an instant takeaway of Chinese then if you're having that much wine.
Yeah.
But a lot of people, I think, realise how much calories are in drinks.
Booze, yeah.
But yeah, is what it is.
I think alcohol would be it's like a whole hour of Q&A, to be fair, you know.
Yeah, probably. All right. All right, this could be, well, I'll ask you, unless you've got one, or I can go for another one. I've got quite a few.
Yeah, you go for it.
Okay.
I think we've done.
All right, if you had to pick, this is going to be a bit of a sort of fun one, so to speak. If you pick one exercise to be the best exercise, what would you choose? Now, bear in mind, there is no single best exercise. Just want to put that out there. But if you had to choose something that you think you'd get the most out of regardless, or what would you say is, and you know, how they say the squat is the king of exercises. I'd say, yeah, okay, it could be the king. The deadlift is probably the queen, but, you know, what's the ace?
What's the ace? Oh, I like that. Yeah, thanks to my best mate for that question. What would be the best exercise?
Fox.
Do you know what? Like, I love box squats. I just love box squats. Like, to me,
you're welcome.
I get the most out of those. Like front squats. Jesus Christ! Like,
what front squat?
The amount,
box or free front squat?
Yeah, well, yeah. But having never tried a front squat box squat, I'll let you know this week. But yeah, box squats for me, like, especially the ones we did last week on the camp.
Yeah. Where
you're having to just having to engage yourself. Nikki's just put burpees. Yeah. What do you reckon? Horrible. Some people like burpees.
Do I think burpees is the best exercise? There's a 2-letter word I'm going to give as an answer. It starts with N and ends in O. No, not at all.
I think burpees have their place, but I think they do, like, I'm in the hip. So
yeah.
To get you blowing out your ass, yes. But conditionally, for technique, for, you know, you see some really bad burpees. Like, you can see some horrendous. I think you can injure yourself if you do them wrong.
Yeah, but there's so many different variations of a burpee. I mean, what's right? Really?
That's right, yeah.
You know? What's the right way to do a burpee? You know?
Yeah. But yeah,
they look ridiculous anyway. So if you're doing it slightly wrong, who's going to notice?
Oh yeah, unless you've got me or you stood next to you next time, I suppose. But,
yeah, I'll never be stood next to someone doing good mornings because I'll never make any. Burpees.
Because you'll never make people do them. I will. Don't worry about that. Everyone's jumping ship to you now, so they don't have to do any burpees, mate. So.
My answer to that question would probably be the good morning.
The good morning?
Yeah, because it's going to strengthen you in an extremely weak position, which is always going to be good. It's going to target your entire posterior, so it's going to do your spinal erectors, your glutes, your lower back, your hamstrings, your calves. There are different variations of it as well. You can do it seated, which is going to take your legs out of it. It's going to increase your flexibility with resistance, which is the better way to do it. If you know how to brace your abdominals properly, then it's a hell of a core builder as well, as much as I don't like using the word core. And also, it's going to build the shit out of someone's squat and deadlift as a movement as well. So you could hammer good mornings for ages, and 9 times out of 10, it's going to boost numbers for your squat and deadlift. It's great for athletics because it's training the entire of the back part of your body, which is where the power is produced. And they're hard, so they're good fun. My answer for if I had to pick one exercise to be the best exercise to do for anyone, this is assuming done properly, I would go with the good morning or sled dragging.
Oh, yeah, sled dragging is probably up there for me. Anything that you can push or pull, or you know, that you can use an all body blast on, then I think that's going to be your best bet.
I'm talking specifically the sled, like we've done, not a prowler. I think a prowler has a place, but I think it takes more out of somebody than you're going to get out of it, whereas a sled doesn't. But you know, I'm not saying don't do them, because they are grueling. So
true that. Yeah.
But you would have to manage your programming with a prowler a little bit more, because it's going to be more taxing and more to recover from.
Agreed.
All right, your turn. What else have you got? We haven't had any in the live stream yet. People obviously are loving the questions that we've already got or have been given.
Well, as we've been going for an hour now. So, hour 5. We haven't even mentioned what our thoughts on Farnborough Rec closing were.
Well,
so, what was your thoughts on the old Farnborough Rec going down the drain?
I think, we knew it was going to happen. I think people who were saying that's ridiculous that it's closed now, those people don't understand the reasons as to why it closed. It closed when it closed because the contract expired. The company's not going to extend it for a couple of months or a year or two when they're going to when the new centre is due to be built anyway.
Yeah.
So they're just going to accelerate the process and bring that forwards, you know. And as you know, I got a lot of inside information before anybody else. Well, although you did actually as well, but me a little bit more so. So I couldn't say much, even though I didn't know it all as it was going. We knew it was going to happen. It needed to happen, although I think it was a bit silly that they perhaps didn't keep it open until Camberley opens.
Yeah.
Because now there's...
I think that was just a contract dispute, wasn't it, really?
Yeah.
So, you know. And I think Rushmore kind of wanted to use it for other purposes, it seems. So, my thoughts were, obviously, you know, we kind of had the bomb dropped on us at the same kind of time as the public did. Not to say that we didn't have that kind of idea of the contract's ending, so what's going to happen. Like, we obviously knew that, but most people knew that the contract was ending anyway. So, but I think that it was just, oh, well, they'll extend it, because that's what they did last time. But having read kind of the report, I don't think many people read the report, which was how much money it was going to cost to keep it running.
Well, just to replace the ceiling and the roof.
Well, they needed to rebuild the entire roof, didn't they? So, yes, you know, I agree with you. Maybe they could have extended it until Camberley opened. But
why is the council going to spend £3 million or however much it was to do the whole ceiling and the roof?
Yeah, when they want to knock it down anyway.
Exactly.
So
exactly, and yeah. So I mean,
they've been taping it up for years, haven't they? Like, we've been there, and the roof caved in on you on the day after Boxing Day, and I've been in there when it started raining through the ceiling and stuff. Yeah, it just wasn't a safe environment to live in, work in anymore.
No,
I did live there.
But it was built in 1973, so it's had its fair share of, you know, interaction with people and nature. And it will be good when there's a new one. We've just got to wait 4 years until there is one.
Yeah, well, that's the council's prerogative. So we'll see how quickly they do that. So, but yeah, I think that kind of leads on to what are you doing in regards to future personal training? Where are you? What are you doing? Where are you off to?
Where am I? Well, I'm going to be transferring like a few people over to Camberley, which is obviously, as you know, opening in the beginning of July. That's where I'm going to be doing all my stuff. Are you going to come over and do any there, or are you sticking to your place?
So yeah, no, I'll be there 6 hours a week and a spin class, but I will not be personal training there. I'll be at a independent gym in Farnborough called Unit 20 called Platinum, which actually opens tomorrow.
Is it tomorrow?
So come down, have a look if you want to. If you want just a little taster. Not saying that you don't have to go to Camberley and go see Jake and the rest of the crew.
I'm saying come and see me.
Yeah. but that's where I'll be. But you will see my face at Camberley occasionally.
Yeah, I think it's going to look good. Or I can't wait for them to actually post some proper pictures rather than a virtual thing. I mean, the virtual thing is great, but you know, that's not necessarily exactly how it's going to be. A lot of it's probably just demonstration purposes in terms of pictures and stuff, especially the stuff in the gym. I hope anyway. But it'd be good.
At the end of the day, Jake will be disappointed no matter what. So
yeah, because I haven't designed it and I haven't picked the kit that I know for a fact is going to be better than the company has chosen. But you know, that's another whole topic of discussion for another time.
I just like to wind you up to it.
Yeah, it doesn't wind me up anymore because it's just so frequent. So I just sort of, you know, take it as it is. All right. What else have you got, or what are you thinking?
What do you think the next fitness trend for 2021 will be?
Who knows? I've no idea. It's going to be something to do with some online stuff. The thing with trends is they don't last very long. That's the point. The stuff that will always stand regardless is the basic fundamentals of training, regardless of what they are. You know, you've got all this stuff that comes and goes, and yeah, it was there for a bit. It sort of came and was popular for a year or two, and then you don't hear from it again. But what that thing is going to be, I have no idea. I mean, what do you think? It's going to be something more, I'd have thought, in your area of things rather than where I try to stay, because you know it looks good. It's all good for marketing and it looks good on Instagram. It's probably going to be some sort of revolutionary online training, which
that's where I was going to go. Like, obviously, from the past year, the trend has been virtual, hasn't it? So, and that's been amazing. The whole fitness industry has come together and actually done it all online, and boosted people from home, you know, when it really was necessary. I think gyms are very important, obviously, because that's where we make our money and where we enjoy it the most. And I know that a lot of people need to go to the gym, but it's like these home workouts that have all been created, everyone on YouTube, everyone on Instagram, IGTV, you know, whatever, that have been keeping people fit and healthy over virtual. I think that's been the biggest trend of 2021. I don't think you can...
And 2020, yeah. I think it's fine short term. It's not sustainable for long term because you're just going to get bored, you know, unless you've literally got a £1 million facility in your back garden with all sorts of kit. You're going
to end up doing similar workouts.
There's only something to do with a 12-kilo kettlebell, a couple of bands, and a couple of dumbbells. You know, yeah, you can do a few things, but
I think for what it was, like, to keep us active during a time where we couldn't go to the facilities that we wanted, you know, whether that be the gym or the climbing walls or whatever, you know, ice hockey, football, you know, you name it, whatever it was that was for you, dancing, that provided something for us to do over that time. And it's so important, like, you know, you say from my direction, like mental health for me, like that's been the biggest thing. If you can keep active, especially during the lockdown, where mental health was a real struggle, then that has to be the biggest trend of last year and this year, and it will continue to be so. Like, I know clients that are still doing home workouts because it keeps them motivated, and great. Like, if it works for you, then it works for you. If you want to continue doing that, if you feel anxious about going back to the gym or the classes, then it's there for you, isn't it? There's an opportunity for you to still train.
I definitely think the last year has absolutely annihilated 95% of people's mental health just from being stuck inside and not being able to do whatever. I mean, obviously exercise in all regards, especially because, you know, it's what people. It could be people's stress release. It could be just an interest and a passion that they have, or it's just part of their regular routine. And when you're not in it, you know, that it fucks you up a bit.
Yeah. But yeah, I think it will come from that. Whatever the trend is, I think it's going to come from, you know, I think the biggest trend actually was Joe Wicks's schools thing.
Oh, fuck it.
You know, but it kept, like, yes, it's irritating and annoying and like, but I understood the purpose of it and it worked.
Yeah.
So great. Whatever keeps people doing whatever they need to do, great. And it keeps kids active and it keeps parents like slightly less crazy.
Yeah.
You know, whatever works. You know, yes, it won't work for me or you, but it works for them. So.
Yeah, it's something to pass the time for certain people. It's something just to do, and yeah, other people enjoy that, and that is their primary source of training. So, you know, like
do what you enjoy. I think is the biggest takeaway from the whole of lockdown is. Like obviously, me and you missed the gym because that's what we enjoy most, because we can lift heavy and feel better for that. But us being at home doing, like, we called it Rep City, didn't we? Like just reps upon reps upon reps upon reps, the same thing over and over again. Like that's what that drives you mad.
Well, that's what you could do, because that's.
But yeah.
So it's something.
That's what's available. So do it. So,
yeah, I think it takes a lot of mental strength to work out at home. I think, especially when you don't want to, because how easy is it for you to think, oh, can't be asked for this? Just carry on.
Yeah, I'll just watch a film. Yeah.
Exactly, yeah. So, I mean.
So yeah, if you were one of those that did train while in lockdown,
yeah, it's I think it's good that it's all back, and I don't think it will be going again. I mean, there's no reason for it to.
No.
You know how controversial I am with the whole
COVID.
Yeah. But if it's considered a health crisis, why are we closing the facilities of which benefit people's health? But we're not talking about that, because I would be here all night and people would probably block me. But fuck them.
Oh yeah, I think we both agreed on that kind of why close down facilities that are going to keep people mentally healthy and physically. And I basically clarified that the answer was because there are idiots out there who are incapable of not going to the gym when they're ill and horrid or touching things that they shouldn't and not cleaning up after themselves. And that's basically what it was. But that's
just standard etiquette anyway,
And that's what makes me laugh. People are like, oh, how long have we got to do this for? Like cleaning down your kit. And I'm like, forever. Let's hope it's forever, that you clean down your equipment, because it's just manners, Every gym rules etiquette poster that you've ever seen says wipe down your equipment.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
The problem was gyms weren't providing things to clean with, but
wipe down equipment is what you'll find everywhere. Put your equipment and weights and stuff back is obvious, and no curls, bicep curls in the squat rack. If you violate any of those three, I think
get out.
Execution should be brought back. To be honest, so yeah. Unless you're the biggest and strongest guy in the gym, then curling in the squat rack it's not allowed. Still a crime.
I still don't think it's allowed.
No, but if you're the biggest and strongest guy in the gym, then anyway that that's not allowed, so you wouldn't do it. It's the people. It's the people that have no idea about anything who will go and do bicep curls in the rack. But yeah.
Poke the bear there, didn't I?
All right. This is quite a good one. What have been your biggest training challenges, whether it's physical, mental, or in terms of sort of educational?
I think the simple one would be I had a knee injury a couple of years ago, and that stopped me doing a lot, like squats, spin, deadlifts, you name it. It stopped me doing a lot, and I was doing loads of rehab for it, and that was really boring, and that made me lose a lot of motivation to train, and I gained weight because of it.
Yeah.
But I think the biggest thing for me is always my brain. My brain is the thing that stops me training properly.
So it's a mental thing more for you.
Always, like when I gained loads of weight when I was 20, it was because my mum died. I was at uni, I was grieving. I was put into the wrong environment to grieve, which was going out partying, not exercising, eating all the time, student diet. That was a main one. I then was in an unhappy relationship, and that made me gain weight and lose motivation and not care. And you just lose kind of organisation as well. Like if I don't plan, it all goes out the window. Like I have to have a plan. I have to have a to-do list.
Without a plan, you plan to fail.
Yeah, that's it. Failure to prepare. Yeah, prepare and fail.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think, and that and that's about managing the triggers for you. Like if you know that you've got triggers that cause you to do things, like to self-sabotage, then you need to realize those triggers. You need to work out what they are. Like for me, it's not planning. If I don't plan, then I know I'm gonna F up. Like if I don't go into a workout and it's not planned, then I don't do that workout properly. If I don't plan my meals, for even if I just plan meals for the following day, like it doesn't have to be the whole week. Like I just have to plan them for the following day, and then I'll stick to it. Like they're the little things that you need to do, like from my mental health.
Yeah, I think it's you can really lose yourself if you start to what am I trying to say? If your routine gets out of hand, it soon starts snowballing. One small thing will become something else, and it'll become multiple things, and then big things, and then one small little cock up over 6 weeks can be massive, and then you have to start everything again, and that's going to be mentally damaging as well, because it's like, well, fucking hell, I've just wasted however long building up, and then another 6 weeks of it going downhill. Now I'm at the bottom of the hill. I've got to start,
and then having to fix it.
Yeah.
So,
I think that's with a lot of people with their fitness or their training or whatever over the lockdowns. It's like you're physically not able to do it, so you're going to have to start again.
Yeah,
and that's difficult because
that's the bit that's trying to get you back into the gym by just doing something that you enjoy and creating a habit again.
Exactly.
I think like that's been the biggest. Like obviously me and you straight in, because we know that's going to help us. We know that that's going to make us feel better from minute one. And like routine for me last 3 weeks has been bang on, because I've been, I don't, probably the same for you. Like you've been back in the environment that you enjoy. Like for me, I'm working as well, so that means I've got a routine for work. It's just the little things that I know, the things that will cause me havoc. Like January, February, March. Issue, because I haven't got routine. I don't know when I'm going to train. I don't really know what I want to train. I'm bored, so then you start eating more. You're not as active. Like the alcohol cupboard is readily available, and you don't have work in the morning, so who cares? It's just stupid things, and then you get into that habit. So, and I know everyone's like that, and that's the whole point. Is like I'm telling them that personal trainers are exactly the same. We get into bad habits, and sometimes you can't get out of them, but then it's managing that trigger and to be able to change your perspective and find what's going to get you into the gym. Like if you're struggling to get back now, just go, just once. Just once, like, because you'll go, wow, I feel so much better.
Just one session, even if you've missed it for a year, one session, doesn't matter what you do, will make you feel so much better, honestly. Even if you don't feel like you've done much, the fact that you've done something, you've gone back to the environment that you've been longing for however long, it's going to have such a benefit on your mental state. But yeah, I agree. Right. Go on then. Huh?
I have to end it there.
Right.
Because I've got chicken in the oven.
Yeah, it's about time to eat.
And it's been in for the entire time that we've been talking. So that's pretty epic. A whole chicken is cooked in that time. So,
hour and a half.
Hour and a half. Yeah, it's pretty good.
Great. All right.
I'll let you have one more question. You got one more question?
I've got 5 left on the sheet that we haven't ticked off.
Okay.
How many have you got?
I don't even know where I am on my list, so you crack on, mate. What have you got that's on there that we haven't said?
All right, this one I think a lot of people could probably appreciate. What would you say is the best thing to do for back pain?
Ooh, back pain.
Bear in mind, neither of us are doctors. I'm going based on experiences.
Yeah, so that's so speaking of those certificates that you get given, I have my exercise referral certificate, which one of the actual subjects is lower back pain.
Well, I was just about to say, I'm assuming this means lower back, because that means you've got to be fucking Quasimodo if you have upper back pain.
Upper back pain, yeah. Well, you say that. A lot of people have been looking over their effing laptops and their phones for the entire of COVID and
Straight.
punching over like this and causing themselves lots of troubles up top. But yeah, I would imagine it's lower back pain.
Well,
and
that's how I was gonna answer it. But we could probably make it so that it's general back, but for the most part,
well,
I assume it
think
would be lower back.
I think the biggest thing is lower back pain tends to come from the fact that people don't activate their glutes, don't use their glutes in any effing way ever.
They've got
hamstrings, weak core. But I just think it's movement. A lot of people, it's because they don't do F all.
Yeah.
So getting moving, getting good posture, that comes to upper back as well. Tight straps, things like that. But I think flexibility, mobility, and strength is going to be your big three, really.
Yeah, I mean, it could be spinal compression. It depends what the pain is. If someone says, "Oh, my back hurts," well, what does that mean? Is it sharp pain? Is it a shooting pain all the way down your leg? Is it a dull ache in a specific spot? Is it muscle soreness because you've trained? That's one. Oh, this hurts. Or I'm really aching.
I've done some. Come on. Matt, time to hear that like someone says their lower back hurts, and it's because they've done something with it. Because people associate lower back pain as something really bad. Like, oh, I've done something bad, and you're like, if you had that pain in your quads or your chest after a workout, you wouldn't think anything of it. You'd be like, oh, my legs hurt because I did legs yesterday, or my chest hurts because I did chest yesterday. Well, maybe you did something that worked your lower back yesterday.
Yeah.
And it's usually because it's weak, and that's why it's hurting so much, because you don't use it. You don't strengthen it anyway.
We just don't train it generally. Yeah. I mean, people tend to shy away from training the neck and the lower back. Well, why would you? They're still parts of your spine. No one ever trains the neck, and they stay away from the lower back because they think, oh, I'm going to hurt myself. Well, no, you're going to hurt yourself if
you don't.
I need to charge.
Spoken to one. Yeah, I think mobility is a big one. Like people's pelvic, hips. Yeah. If you're tight in those areas, of course your body's going to be constricting in a certain way. Like, as you say, it depends where the pain is.
Yeah.
So being flexible, doing your stretching, that's going to help you recover better, going to make you more mobile, less pain, and strengthen. Like, stretching still strengthens. Like, I think, if you're holding things long enough, you can still work an area by doing flexibility and mobility exercises. So, but people just don't do it. It's a problem, which is why it hurts.
It's unfortunate that the one or two bits of kit that exactly what I'm going to say are not available to 99% of people are the best things you can do. And that's the belt squat, because it literally pulls your spine apart, correcting pelvic tilt, because you've got traction underneath, and the reverse hyper. I mean, they're the best things you can do, not back extensions or stuff on a stability ball. It's not going to do anything because it doesn't pull the spine.
Abdominal crunch.
Yeah, that's not. But I think people get trapped into a vision of you have to keep your back static the whole time. No, your spine and everything is designed. I say designed to bend and twist and flex.
Yeah.
So allow it to do that. Get the appropriate motion in the discs to free it, because that's how you get blood flow in it.
Well, I think I always say to people, you do know that your spine is not a straight line.
Yeah, exactly.
Your spine is an S shape, so allow it to be an S shape.
Yeah.
If you start making it a straight line, then you're doing some real weird shit to your back. So you need to move it in that way.
Yeah, so that's just natural. Exactly. Like you'll have stronger and healthier back and hamstrings if you round your back naturally than think I've got to keep it flat all the time, because that's just flexed. Keeping it flexed all the time is not. It's not good for you.
No.
There's no segmentation of the
disc. You see a lot of people kind of lying on their backs and going, oh, but my back isn't against the floor. And I'm like, well, it's not meant to, some of it shouldn't, it shouldn't hit the floor really. Like, it's your glutes that should, like your bum that should be engaged into the floor, and your shoulders that should be engaged into the floor.
Yeah, there should be a natural arch, but then you should know how to brace your abdominals properly. Tensing your stomach isn't bracing your abs. Learning to push out and fill up your entire stomach with air it's a skill to learn. It's not just, I flex my six-pack. You know, just because you got a six-pack doesn't mean you got a strong stomach. I don't care what anyone says. In fact, they rarely do. That just means you've got a low body fat percentage.
That's it. Yeah, like abs are made in the oven is a constant thing, isn't it? So that means, you know, if you've burnt enough fat off, then you can see those abs, because everyone has them. You know, no matter how many of you say that you don't have abs, everyone has them, because they're just hiding underneath. You could do 1,000 sit-ups and you still wouldn't achieve that. You know, so and doing 1,000 sit-ups is not going to help you with your posture or anything like that either. So, or your core strength either. It will be part of a training program, but doing them just on their own, no.
Yeah, I mean, it could just be a postural thing. A lot of the time, it's your psoas, which is one of your major hip flexors. You just get that release and you're fine. But I mean, the main answer, I suppose, would be you can't have too strong glutes, because your glutes support your spine. You can't have too strong hamstrings or abdominals. That's all going to support your back. And get on a reverse hyper if you can, a proper one. If you can't, then it's not as much. It's not much really.
Sorry.
There's not really much.
They're quite rare, though, has to be said.
Yeah, but every gym should have one, because it's the best bit of kit you could possibly have. But you know, it is what it is.
Preferential.
Anything else you wanna do tonight? I've still got a few left, or should we save them for another time? I don't mind.
Yeah, I think we'll save it for another time, and give people the opportunity to kind of
absorb that.
I'm sure people have got loads of questions coming from what we've said today anyway. So, but if you have any more questions, then like it doesn't have to be specifically for when we ask for them. If you've got them, then just throw them over.
Yeah. Are we going to try and do this fairly regularly, or every Sunday at 6-ish, or what are we thinking?
I don't mind really. I think everyone should let us know. To, you know, how often do you want us to do that?
But
do you want specific topics? Do you want us to go through nutrition only? Do you want us to go through mental health only, fitness only? You know, I think that should be viewers' choice, really.
Yeah.
What do you want to know from us? And hopefully you've benefited from what we've said.
But yeah, really, I think we'll post this anyway, so that even if people haven't been on now, they can, if they want. It's there.
Oh, yeah, and if it's the beginning or whatever, then you can watch the beginning as well. So.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, I'll be happy to do that again.
Yep, sounds good, mate.
All right, cool.
All right. Well, I'm going to enjoy my chicken.
Yes. All right. I'll see you later. Thank you, everyone.
See you later, pal. Cheers, guys. Bye.
Bye.